Nabila Ramdani is a journalist specialising in the Arab world, interviewed Colonel Gaddafi in the past. Very good morning to you. There is a strong word of caution over this story about the allegations made by the Libyan authorities.
Indeed, we have to bear in mind that the statements coming out of the Gaddafi regime in the past have been very much perceived as propaganda. Let's not forget that, for example, the regime has been in complete denial about its actions against the rebels, for example, or on numerous occasions the regime claimed that it will implement ceasefires and never delivered on its promises. So we have to be extremely careful about statements made by Libyan officials.
We were talking to Christian Fraser a moment ago, and he said how the cameras were invited to go and look at the scene itself. Now, it's clearly going to be important for Colonel Gaddafi in terms of his PR, if you like, but also for NATO to establish what really did happen, and that will mean, I would imagine, seeing bodies if people were killed.
Very much so. Intriguingly, for example, we do not have much information about the three grandchildren who are supposed to have died in the airstrike. So that's something we perhaps would like to hear more about and see definite evidence, tangible evidence of what's happened. It might be that it's a clear attempt by the regime to perhaps bolster more support around Gaddafi and perhaps cultivate an anti-Western sentiment and to encourage people to resist the Western airstrikes.
And the significance, of course, is that this is the regime is suggesting this is an airstrike specific to people, which is precisely what NATO is saying they are not doing. This is about military targets or targets to do with the regime itself.
But I think there's as much propaganda coming out of NATO, and it's been very disingenuous about who they are targeting. Clearly, they have targeted Gaddafi's compound on repeated occasions, and there's a definite attempt there to end Gaddafi physically, to put a definite end to his regime. And we have to be extremely careful about not overstepping the mark. Clearly, the UN resolution 1973 is not about ending Gaddafi, is about protecting civilians and giving Libyans the choice to decide their own future.
And the strike here, of course, is diverting attention today, but elsewhere the military battle goes on.
Absolutely, and we have to bear in mind that it's very much a country at war. US reports are stating very clearly that so far 30,000 people have been killed in the conflict, so that's a very high figure, and that includes, of course, Gaddafi soldiers. Let's not forget that these are people who are fighting for a regime under duress, but also rebels killed by Gaddafi forces, but also by NATO airstrikes, and of course civilian people. So we should never lose sight of the human tragedy at the heart of this conflict.
Let's leave it there for now. Thank you very much.